One. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another Complexity Cast production. I'm your casting host, Beef, and joining me once again is Emperor from Team Domain of Pain. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Beef. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. You know, we got a lot of good upcoming Han in the next couple of days. Got the Han Tour qualifiers tomorrow morning. Grand Final's going to be finishing up for that, and then just 2 days from now, Han Tour Cycle 1 starting. So, like you said a little bit ago, an endless supply of good games for the next 4 months. I'm looking forward to that. But right now, we have good games right before us. We have TteS taking on Complexity. This is the semifinals matchup from DreamHack Winter that we had just last weekend.
Yeah, from what I heard, this was a pretty entertaining game. I actually minded up missing this first one here, so I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I am very, very excited as well. TteS, of course, an extremely strong team in their own right. And Complexity, you know, everybody considers them to be the top dogs. So should be very good. But we're already well on into the banning picking phase here. So real quickly, the blind bands: Ophelia, Tempest, Fade, and Keeper of the Forest. Pretty standard.
Yeah, pretty standard. Just a bunch of high tier heroes being locked out. I think Fade and Keeper is interesting to note from Complexity. I think very smart bans against TteS. Complexity likes to ban out those quote unquote cheesy heroes. Fade and Keeper being among the top two cheesy heroes in the lock that you could potentially even draft, I think. Jeppins is known for a Suicide Keeper, so a very smart ban there in general, and Fade speaks for herself. So
Certainly. Making it into the locks, we do have Plague Rider, Bubbles, Wild Soul, Parasite, Pharaoh, and Tundra. So quite a few very nice heroes there. Parasite actually making it in. That's one hero that B-Kid says he never wants to play against. So seeing it in the lock pool here might give him a little bit of heartburn.
and it is true that TteS does have first draft here, although I usually don't see them run too much of an aggressive Parasite, so if they do pick it up, I'm interested to see how they will wind up playing it. I'm not sure if it's quite in the way that Complexity fears, so we'll wind up seeing, I suppose. Interesting to know out of the lock pools that all six of those heroes are potential suicide roll.
Well, that's very true. That's
Actually, not Parasite so much. I mean, technically,
hold on
I
a
guess
second. I've actually seen a suicide Parasite before.
I've done
Granted,
a suicide Parasite before, so
it did not go well, but I've seen it before. They tried to make it deny creeps like a Plague Rider, but mostly it just ended up getting killed a lot. So.
yeah, you want to get level 3 in the jungle first if you wind up doing that.
All right, so going into it though, we already have the bands coming out here: Behemoth, Demented Shaman, Engineer, Zephyr, and Draconis being banned.
And Pebbles.
And Pebbles. There we go. I think
Pebbles, the other major hero outside of Fade, banned out. Zephyr seeing a lot of play lately. A little bit surprised to see the DS ban, although I think TteS, didn't they run it against, who was it, where they, against QSQ, where they had that epic Swiftblade comeback. I think White Felipe was actually playing DS that game and played it phenomenally.
yeah, Demented Shaman, just such a strong hero, and one that's really making his way back into the competitive scene. I mean, he's always been around on the peripherals for sure, but since TDM kind of brought it back with the bird about 2 weeks ago, he's been making a comeback for sure. And sure enough, B-Kid banning that Demented Shaman as well as the bird, saying, I do not want to have to deal with that strategy. And that's certainly one that they've been punished with in the past.
Yeah, Silhouette still not picked up here by either team and is the primary ranged agility carry left on the board here, outside of FA, but Silhouette's a little bit higher tier in my opinion. Magmus first draft by TteS. I've actually heard Tralf say on numerous occasions that he considers Mag to be honestly like one of the best heroes in the game right now that people sort of forgot about for a little while and then just started picking up again. And for good reason. I mean, you see him a lot with that Mag NG lane in mid. Obviously, Engineer's banned out here, so maybe a little bit less worth in him. But I'm not surprised to see TteS pick him up at all.
Yeah, Magmus, extremely strong hero, as B-Kid knows very, very well. But to counteract that first pick, we already have Glacius and Torture coming out. Now, Torture is a hero that you don't see being played too often by Complexity. They ran it a couple of times in scrims leading up to the DreamHack Winter event. Both B-Kid and Haxrin showing that they can play that hero very, very effectively. And it'll be interesting to see if he is played in some kind of a carry role or a support role, as we've seen TteS on the other side. Moravis play that as a carry, and Whitetalaba play it as a support. So Torture, a hero with a lot of versatility.
Well, we see Glacius picked up already here for Complexities, which leads me to believe that if Torture is played, it's probably be more for a lane control carry. Imagine it's sort of like a quote-unquote carry with a stun in lane, a carry in that they're going to put farm on him and just use him for lane control with another support hero backing him up. Swiftblade picked up again by TteS, maybe feeling confident with him after their big win against QSQ. We can't forget that game. I think they were down 30k, and Slicks, against all odds, might end up carrying the game with Swiftblade.
You know, it's just incredible how fast Slicks is able to farm. No matter what hero you put him on, it seems like if he's getting a Rune Cleaver, or if he's getting a Helm of the Dominator, doesn't matter what items, doesn't matter what lanes or what situation he's in, Slicks is always going to find that farm. And that's exactly what he was able to do in that QSQ game, get some key engagements and bring his team back in. So always a threatening player and a threatening team over here for TteS, who do, in fact, pick up that Parasite that we were talking about B-Kid fearing so much earlier.
Right, Parasite picked up first, but Wild Soul is still in the pool. I know they already have Tremble, but I would not be surprised to see Complexity go for that Wild Soul pick here. It is just considered to be absolute god tier at the moment. Although Tundra also left undrafted. That is not usual that we see it, although more often than late. I think teams have been foregoing Tundra since it doesn't fit into lanes as well as some of the other heroes would.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing that lock pool there at the end, as both Tundra and Bubbles were there for Moon. He was probably giddy as a schoolgirl, saying that he was going to get one of his two favorite heroes guaranteed. Right. But they do end up going with that Wild Soul.
Yeah, they went up going with Wild Soul, and a pretty smart pick in Bubbles there. I think if they have Tremble and Wild Soul, they both are sort of that right-click DPS. That Bubbles lockdown is going to be very important to maximize the damage output coming out of Moon and Chessie here on their rolls.
All right, and so for this last pick, we've got 12 seconds. What do you think it's going to be?
I want to say well, I guess I don't even need to guess. You know, I was actually going to maybe edge on Plague, but I was considering the Pharaoh, and you know what? Doesn't even matter.
All right, so Jeppin's going to be playing that Pharaoh. What does that Pharaoh bring to the table that these other two heroes didn't? Why would they go with that hero?
I mean, let's look at this. I guess they have, well, guaranteed initiation. I would say even stronger than Bubbles a little bit there. Especially when combined with Magnus, I would say TteS, and we saw Swiftblade played by Slicks. Actually, last time he ran it, actually got a portal key as well. We're looking at a very portal key heavy lineup here in general. I also like the Aluna Pharaoh combo. No matter where you are on the map with those mummy walls, even level 1 mummy walls combined with your hook ability, Aluna gets a guaranteed red snipe off once she hits level 6, and that catches a lot of heroes off guard early. I mean, that's a lot of damage coming out as soon as you get your ultimate, so not to be underestimated. Just sets up beautiful power throws.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can't underestimate, is that global presence from Aluna and Pharaoh on this team. So if, say, Swiftblade and Magnus go in on somebody, they could have support from that Aluna and the Pharaoh all the way across the map, pumping out that extra burst damage that you're talking about. And that could be a person that is caught off guard and right there, dead. So we'll see it. We already see a what is that rocket called? Tormented Soul flying out right there, doing a little bit of scouting for Pharaoh, checking to see what's going on over here in the Hellborn jungle. And already Complexity going to back off just a little bit, but they do still have 4 players in the vicinity of this top jungle.
All right. One thing to note: B-Kid does get his ward off here on the Hellborn pool. Not that it's too big of a deal. It seems like Swiftblade is going to be down here solo for a while, but yeah, he did manage to get the ward off.
So B-Kid is playing Bubbles. That's
yes. Actually, a good point to note there. B-Kid's on the suicide roll. And we have Moon in the jungle. Peculiar.
It's very, very interesting to see that. Moon Meander typically does play that suicide, of course, and we've seen Chessie play quite a few Suicide Wild Souls, but they're kind of mixing it all up right here, as Haxorin's actually going to take the Torture, so not too out of the ordinary there, but Chessie going to be on the Tremble here, and it looks like he's going to be going up 1v2, maybe even with an aggressive Parasite jungling as well, so that could be a very rough time for this Tremble here.
Yeah, I will say, depending on how fast the Wild Soul hits 3, I would say they can force Parasite sort of out of the jungle there with the combined harass of both supports. I mean, that Wild Soul Bear, you cannot underestimate that early root. It just tears through its heroes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you talk about. You talk about the randomness of that route, but also the effectiveness. If it gets off, sometimes you can just get a kill right then and there. Already actually a spin coming out here in the bottom lane, which is actually a short lane Swiftblade against this Bubbles. B-Kid just getting a little bit too close. And here in the jungle, actually, Parasite going to go on to Glacius. And Parasite's going to take the imprisonment right there. The Bear trying to get some damage in as well. Parasite actually being forced out of the jungle there for a second, like you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like if in order for them to maximize the effectiveness of this, quote-unquote tri-top, they would need their point hero to be one that can more stand alone more easily in lane. I guess Magnus can sort of hold his own against the Tremble, especially if they control the first couple waves, but I mean, Parasite really needs that Aluna support, or else, as we saw, Glacius and Wild Soul just teamed up on him and sent him right back out. So he's forced to play a more passive role here on Parasite, and we're looking at passive jungle versus passive jungle. I don't think Wild Soul minds having that free farm.
Yeah, I think that Moon would probably be very happy getting uninterrupted farm there on that Wild Soul. Maybe get some like 20-25 minute Mock of Brilliance or any other item around that caliber, and that would be very, very good for Complexity to have. But taking a look at the middle lane here, Haxorin on the Torture as well as Franzi on the Glacius right now, double ranged against this Pharaoh. Jeppin's probably going to have a pretty rough time there.
Yeah. Pretty rough time, but Pharaoh is known for being incredibly difficult to kill. And when you're soloing mid against a potential dual lane like that's all you want is to be able to get experience. And being melee, comparing to, say, a Witch Slayer, a Polly, or another hero that might see that mid matchup, he'll actually get a lot more experience, hit his level 6 sooner. Which, pretty good when you look at the aggressive nature of these TteS's lineup.
All right, up in the top lane, Tremble using those Impalers to try to knock Leon Black back, saying, hey, get off my Terror Mound, but Aluna just kind of continuing to press into that Terror Mound, and this is what you have to do against a Tremble. You have to make sure that those Terror Mounds don't get overwhelming, and actually, the Emerald Lightning comes in as well as the Lava Surge. Aluna gets the kill on the Terror Mound, but already Chessie going to summon another one, but Chessie takes a lot of pressure there from that power throw as well.
Yeah, really impressive so far. They actually have Tremble still at 0 CS. He has not been able to get a single creep up here yet, and Aluna doing a great job, just every single mound that Chessie's fine. He's actually going to be out of mounds now. So fantastic job here. I actually really like this lane setup by TteS.
I definitely like it as well. And down there in the bottom lane, we saw an attempted gank setup as Franzi was sitting there invisible on Glacius. Parasite, being played by Whitetalba, did in fact come in and try to assist Slicks and get that kill on B-Kid. But B-Kid got himself into a position where he was able to easily get out with a Shell Surf. And no Bloodlust still coming up at 340 into this game. Torture in the middle lane, 277 GPM. You talked about Pharaoh only needing that experience. He actually grabs a catapult right there, so nice job. But he's already got a bottle now, so he might be looking to run some runes for himself. And if he gets a lucky rune, could easily set up a gank on really any of these lanes.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky move, but he actually he's moving top. Haxorin looks like he's going to be able to edge him out here, or not.
Oh, actually a very nice wall right there. No, the chain reaction comes in.
I don't know.
And yeah, Torture grabs that illusion rune, so Hax, I'm sure, will make very good use of that and continue to farm well in middle lane.
Yep. Meanwhile, bot lane, the Swiftblade Bubbles matchup maintains itself in favor of Bubbles actually right now. I must say, Silhouette was still in the pool for TteS. I know they had a success with their Swiftblade, but was it worth it passing up a hero that on his own could just be dominating the Bubbles right now and scale into the late game? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very interesting down here seeing the Bubbles really have significantly better farm than the Swift. I guess it's not that significant. There's only a disparity of about 30 gold per minute at this point, but BK,
right, but it is the suicide hero, and there are many matchups which could leave Bubbles deeply hindered.
Yeah.
You know, in a V1 suicide lane. So say a Silhouette, which I mentioned was still in the pool,
Yeah.
that Silhouette would be, I would say, massively out lane controlling the bubbles. So was it worth it? I mean, you're
Yeah.
looking at heroes like Tremble, you're looking at heroes like Wild Soul who sort of need farm, and Tremble is gimped right now. Wild Soul's in the jungle sort of need farm before they can get in there and do their right clicks. If you had a gimped Bubbles on top of that and a farm to carry for your own team, don't you think that would be great? Parasite moving in here onto Bubbles as well. Slicks does have his ultimate now.
Yeah, Beakid might be in some trouble. Is actually, I think White accidentally opened there on Bubbles. He just kind of walked up and auto-attacked him once. And yeah, that was kind of a flubbed gank attempt there, possibly. So Beakid gonna go on surviving, keep getting his levels. Now in the top lane, though, Moon might be in a little bit of trouble as Aluna and Magnus are trying to bear down on him. Moon does not have boots for the time being on his hero. And with the phase boots, Magnus, no, Moravia's not able to quite catch up. So Moon will just keep on farming. Taking a look at Moon's farm, he's at 232 GPM, so doing slightly better than the passive jungler in the other lane. But White's already tried to put out a couple of ganks.
Yeah, once Pharaoh hits 6, though, and he is 6, you know, it is possible for them to move up on that Wild Soul. I mean, they do have, let's see the wards right now. I mean, they do have pretty decent ward coverage to spot oncoming ganks, and the bear can force people away. He does have his ulti now, but he doesn't have boots on his hero. I mean, what do you think about Moon not getting boots yet and just going straight, what looks like straight for that relic for his mock?
I mean, like you said, he's not going to be able to gank nearly as effectively as actually Chessie taking some more pressure up here. Auto attacks coming in. The power throw misses, though. And that might have been enough to really take Chessie out of that top lane and give TteS a much-needed advantage here in the early lane. But like you said, boots, it's certainly a stylistic choice there from Moon. Not getting them, he's not going to be as effective at ganking. He's going to have to be a little bit more cautious when trying to run away and stay safe from ganks. But it's really to each his own.
Yep. Another interesting thing, I noticed against the Bubbles, I feel like, I don't know how the matchup plays out exactly, but I might have been interested to see upgrading the Iron Buckler into an Iron Shield against the Bubbles and really trying to control the CS more. Because right now we're still looking, Bubbles is still neck and neck with Swiftblade, despite the hatchet.
Yeah, Beakid continuing to do an excellent job down there, not only at getting those CS, but making sure that he's consistently protecting himself from
Parasite
whenever
level
this Parasite
6
comes in. Yeah, with Parasite level 6, though, that face hug might be just what they need to do Beakid in, but Beakid continues to hug that tower. He's going to lose out on some farm, but not giving up Bloodlust is that important. That he doesn't want to come out of that.
Oh, there's your angle. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, they want it. They want it. The face hug comes in right there. The leech immediately after, but the silence is going to fall off. A nice take cover. The silence as well, and he gets the shell surf off.
Oh, I think Slicks used his phase boots a little bit early there. If he still had his phase up after the shell surf, he could have just went on chasing right there.
Yeah, extremely well played by Beakid right there, and maybe a tiny bit of a misplay. But, I mean, we're 8 minutes into this game, and there's still no Bloodlust. These players are doing so well at making sure not to overexpose themselves. Talking about Moon and Chessie in top lane having to play very defensively. Beakid in the bottom lane having to play defensively. Jeppins in mid making sure not to get hit by Glacius that's come mid twice with an Invis rune. Great play coming out of all these players.
Yeah, and TteS actually with the resource advantage right now. Let's compare the Parasite to the Wild Soul. Wild Soul's actually out farming Parasite by about 50 GPM here in this jungle. So pretty good job by him. I would say it's a little bit worrisome for TteS. Once again, I think Wild Soul with farm in a static game is going to do a lot more than a Parasite. And I noticed Parasite actually chose to level up his Infest over his Leech, making it a little bit harder to gank.
Yeah, so the Infest over the Leeching, it makes him farm a little bit faster, but it severely hinders his ganking ability, if I'm correct. Do you agree with that decision?
I only if you're going to make a really effective farm pattern come out and you know you can get the kills anyway with that leech, or if you know you're not going to even try to gank and you're simply going to straight power form. But he's in a little bit in the middle here where he's trying to gank, but the ganks aren't quite working out. You know, but he is leveling up. You know, his Infest. It's a little bit awkward for him. I don't think it's the best for this game. Or if in the route that he is going, maybe he should just be focusing on farming up fast in that case.
Yeah. Once again, a stylistic choice for sure.
Yeah, Bubbles did teleport over to mid. B-Kid did, by the way.
Yeah,
Slicks applying pressure to that bottom tower.
I watched that. That was about 45 seconds ago. He just kind of bought a
Oh,
TP and TP'd on
Boris
over there.
going in on Pharaoh.
Oh, yeah, they do land the kelp field right there. The shell surf going to come out. A nice ultimate from Pharaoh. They're trying to turn it around, keep himself maybe. But no, it looks like Jeppins is in fact going to fall right there. Haxorn gets the bloodlust. Slicks gets the kill in bottom. And Moravis actually was kind of in position to turn around and kill Franzi, but he didn't go for that blind lava surge.
Yeah, if only that TP came out slightly sooner. I mean, did you see what Jeppins did there? He juked over to the left up the hill, dodged the torch stun, dodged the Young Cell, stunned the Glacier. He kept them occupied for quite a while there. I feel like if he just had one person TPing in, that would have been looking pretty bad for the Complexity team.
Yeah, unfortunately, Moravis not able to get there just soon enough. And, well, there you go. Bloodlust does go to Complexity. Haxorn takes that one up to 370 GPM now. So, Haxorn doing very, very well. Now, on the other side, Moravis, the player that did TP in right there, is at 356, looking very, very strong on Magmus. Grabbing his portal key right here. And now that portal key might be put to use as they look like they're trying to set up a gank on Chessie up here in the top lane.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, let's see what he does with that early PK. I mean, they have a pretty passive team, as I said, on Complexity, and they have a very, very aggressive TteS lineup. That early portal key could, spearhead into many great early game fights for them.
Yeah, that portal key could be very, very useful. Slicks picks up a sustainer right here. So a little bit different from what we saw in the QSQ game, and he's actually teleporting out right now. Going mid, the chain reaction stun going to land on Slicks, and Boris is trying to get the last hit on this tower, and the deny comes in right there. So a nice job getting that deny off. But 4 players here from TteS in the middle lane. But Sustainer, instead of a portal key or a Helm of the Black Legion first, like we saw when TteS was using Swiftblade against QSQ, what do you think the difference is here?
Maybe he realizes he just had total free farm, and given the nature of the lineup, he doesn't want to taper off too much into the late game when you're looking at heroes like Wild Soul and Trumbull. I mean, there's 2 schools of thought. You could be like, oh, we're against these heroes, we're just going to go for more early game items, maybe Steam Boots, Energizer, Geos, something like that, whatever he would choose to build just to have that early game pressure. Or you might be like, okay, the only way I'm going to scale into the late game is if I get a farming item right now. So that's probably the route he went. It's still a damage item as well, so it's never a bad choice per se.
All right. Invisible Swiftblade kind of stalking Haxorn here in the middle lane. Slicks wants to make something happen, but he's not quite been able to. He is, however, deterring the Complexity team from coming in and, in fact, trying to defend this tower. They, of course, did see Pharaoh bottle up that invis, and with Slicks being the only player not on the map, it's only safe to assume that they know Slicks is invis, which is why Haxorn, all the way back at that second-tier tower, trying to play very, very safe.
Yeah, it is taking them quite a while to push down this tower, and Complexity is sort of farming the woods and 2 out of 3 lanes while this is happening.
Yeah, they do get the tower right there. Leon Black on Luna actually picking that one up. And Swiftblade gets the kill on Boris there in the middle, so that's going to be nice. But as you said, farming in those other lanes, definitely a little bit of a boon to Complexity, who's now taken an experience advantage, down by almost 2,000 gold, but they do have that experience advantage, which is very nice to have at this point in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And they need it once again with a team like theirs. They need to focus on split pushing, avoiding fights as much as possible, waiting for those core items to come out. So I think they're playing it out just right. Executing their strategy a little bit better than TteS right now, I think.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but I mean, Moravis and Swiftblade both have very, very good farm. Now, on the other side, though, Moon, well, he's looking very, very strong as well. That bear does have the Sword of the High now, and he's only about 500 GPM off of that Mock of Brilliance. Once that comes out, some of the portal keys on Magmus, possibly one on Swiftblade, or even Parasite later in the game, those could get a whole lot less effective with that bear roaming around with that aura.
Yeah, also that early tablet picked up by Torture, going to be quite effective against the initiation and the Pharaoh walls as well.
Of course, will be very useful, and even useful against somebody like Swiftblade, who a tablet can quickly get you out of harm's way when he's spinning on top of you. Could be very, very useful to have. So I definitely like that pickup by Torture. Chessie on this Tremble, working towards a Helm of the Black Legion, sitting at about 300 gold off that item for the time being. Do you agree with trying to get nice and tanky here on that Tremble?
Probably. I mean, at this point where he's under farmed, that's about the only thing he should be going to do is just tank up and try to lay in those auto attacks in the team fight. However, I'm not sure if you just caught that mid lane. Haxon almost got killed. I got brought down to like 100 HP by the Swiftblade, and I believe it was Magnus combination there. But he actually wanted using that tablet to save himself. So
yeah, I caught the tail end of that one there. And you know what? That's why you pick up that tablet, is to get out of those sticky situations. So a very nice job. And Wild Soul just finished up his mock here. Going to be delivered on the courier in just one moment. And there it is. Boo Boo is now a lot more deadly as Moon Meander activates that ultimate form. And it looks like they're going to be pushing down here toward bottom.
Yeah, impressive 326 GPM sitting out here for Moon. And I believe one of the highest levels in the game. Let's check the XP charts there. Just right behind Swiftblade on the EXP per minute and equal in levels.
Yeah. Very, very strong farm here from Moon. And on the other side, I mean, you got your Parasite, who is essentially doing the same thing. Parasite involved in 0 ganks. And Parasite's 3 levels down and over 100 GPM lower than Moon. So, I mean, really, was this Parasite pick really, truly effective? B-Kid kind of let them have it. And so far, White really hasn't done anything.
Right. I mean, the Parasite, I mean, even if he's choosing to be passive and farm up fast, he would have a lot more than 200 GPM if he made that his objective. This is sort of what they've been trying to accomplish this game, and it not quite coming together, that's sort of mitigating its effectiveness. The Parasite pick was fine in and of itself and synergizes beautifully with their lineup, though.
All right. Complexity takes 2 towers there in that bottom lane. Bubbles being played by B-Kid coming up here, lands a Shell Surf onto a Luna right there, just trying to deter the Legion team from taking a second tower up top of their own, as Complexity gets the better end of that tower trade. And the gold lead now for TT Esports quite diminished, down at only about 500, which is pretty insignificant.
Yeah, pretty insignificant. And mind you, they have, okay, well, Swift has his Runed Axe, Moon has his Mock, so they each have their sort of farming tools up at this point. So it's going to be entering sort of a mid-game farming phase already now here, which, as we went back to look at before, I think is a little bit more in Complexity's favor, given their hero composition. They need to take that late game. Yeah,
certainly. And I mean, Haxorn's farm, nothing to scoff at. He's at 380, only about 10 GPM behind Swiftblade. And Torture is one of those heroes that, if he gets on a roll, I mean, he can get really big and put out a ton of damage in the middle of these team fights. Something that really it's going to be very hard for TTEs to deal with this Torture if he were to get something like a Shrunken Head in these team fights.
He just picked up his Ogre Axe as well, so indeed he is going for Shrunken Head, and at the current pace he's going, it's not going to be too long before that comes out. If I'm looking at these team fights for TTS, I'm saying, hey, we got to kill this Torture, because this is pretty much where all of their damage is coming out. They're up front, you know, AoE, burst, whatever it is. You look at heroes like Tremble and Wild Soul. Yes, the Wild Soul is going to be hitting sort of hard, but it still has a lot more damage over time. My goal in these fights would be kill the Torture, guys, ASAP, before he melts us all down.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, you do have other options than kill him, maybe something like a Sheep Stick or a Hellflower. But, I mean, who's going to be getting that on this team relatively soon? Your Parasite is gone for a Codex at this point, so he's not going for a Hellflower too soon. Swiftblade actually trying to run on in here and make something happen, but not quite able to get into the fray just yet. But all 10 players are now in this top lane. TTE's looking like they want to do a little bit of pushback of their own as they stop Complexity from taking that tier 2, but once again gave up another tier 1 tower. So that's 4 towers down for Complexity now. They've taken pretty good control of this map, and they've got that gold lead completely equalized and retained their experience lead throughout.
Yeah, once again, Moon 390 GPM, White Taliba at 245. So the jungle working out much better in Complexity's favor. I almost feel like if White Taliba just did focus on farming as we went back before, maybe went for that early Hellflower like we're talking about, they would actually still be looking really solid right now.
Yeah, it could be very different as that Codex, I mean, that's 3,000 gold, and he's got another 1,000 gold. So like you said, he could have that Hellflower very, very quickly here. And being able to land a 20-minute Hellflower on top of that Torture, that could put them into position to get the kills that they need to really bring this game back to a good position. But I mean, enough of that. There's a slight advantage here for Complexity right now, but nothing that's going to end the game by any means. And right now, actually, Tremble kind of sitting toward Kong. Could Complexity be looking at a Kongor kill here?
Well, it looks like it. Let's see the map control here. They have more passive ward placed by TteS. It can still, let's see if it's spotting I don't even think it's spotting them out as they're moving into it. No, I think they're gonna have to let this, well, no, they are mobilizing. It's hard to say. I mean, they're obviously trying for it, but they decide they can't do it and back right on out.
Yeah, I mean, Chessie does have that Helm of the Black Legion there on Tremble, so a useful item to provide some tankiness, but I just don't think that with 6 armor on that Tremble, that Tremble's going to be able to tank that for the amount of time that it's going to take, and so Complexity just backs off for now. Go instead to defend this top tower and keep on farming. Torture working on that Shrunken Head. It's going to have that, only about 700 gold. Then Complexity might look to push down these last 2 outer remaining towers, maybe take some team fights.
Yeah, meanwhile, Swiftblade did just pick up his portal key.
Okay, so he is in fact going to be going that portal key route. Last time we did see Helm of the Black Legion into portal key. Do you think that's something that he might pick up, the Helm of the Black Legion, that is, after?
I think if he was to pick it up, he would have picked it up already.
Okay.
At this point, the laning phase is over. A lot of what Helm would do for him is sort of gone already. He'd be better off getting a Shrunken Head or something at this point with his farm instead of building Helm. Yeah. Yeah, that's my opinion on that. Parasite also sitting up 1,600 gold. Is he going to go for Portal Key next? I mean,
It could be very possible. I mean, getting on top of some of these heroes and picking them off. Maybe something like a Bubbles if you get right on top of that. And of course, Glacius, if you're able to get into the back of those team fights, could make something happen on either of those heroes. But only time's going to tell. I mean, he could pick up an Arcana. Actually, he does pick up the Portal Key right there. Oh, excuse me, just not. That was Magnus I was looking at. I'm a liar.
Yeah. Pharaoh also sitting on 2,100 gold here. I wonder if he's going to go for that Barbed Armor pickup or opt for something else.
Yeah, so the Barbed Armor, that would be very, very nice to have against somebody like this Tremble, like the Torture even. But
yeah, Torture forced AoE. If he gets Initiate on him, activates that Barbed Armor, I believe it even goes through Shrunken Head.
Yeah, a very, very strong item, and even provides some armor to deal with Tremble and Wild Soul, so it could be very useful. I would not be opposed to seeing that item at all, but he actually picks up his souls.
Yep. And if we look over there, Complexity's been doing an amazing job of mitigating the Ancient farm from TteS. I've seen Tremble Mounds in there. I've seen Wild Soul come and steal the Ancients a couple times. Overall, they're doing a great job of controlling that farm.
Very, very well done, of course. And I mean, that's what you talk about with Tremble, is his ability to control the map, control spawns of Ancients and hard camps and all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to Chessie. I mean, he's a jungler player. He's a person very familiar with multitasking. So nice job there making sure that the enemy team's resource control is very limited there on those Ancients.
Yeah, I did see Moon just picked up another item here. I didn't quite catch what it was. Let's check it.
It looks like it's an Abyssal Skull.
Oh yeah, he's picking up the items for an Abyssal Skull here on Boo Boo. Okay.
So the Abyssal Skull going to be useful for that bear, going to be useful for the armor aura, and going to be useful for the lifesteal, of course, for creeps and for Tremble as well. But do you agree with getting something like that over a Souls right here in this phase where they're trying to push?
I think Souls would accomplish something pretty similar to what he's going for with the Abyssal, and actually it has more scalability to it as well. I would probably have rather seen the Bulwark.
Oh, Bubble's actually going to go in right there and drops the Kelp Field. Parasite's going to come in, but immediately eats a chain reaction. A huge eruption coming in from Magnus. Lava Surge hitting 2 people as well. Glacial Downpour coming out, but Swiftblade going to go in and end Glacius' life before that does anything else. A nice root there onto Magnus as well. A buyback from Slicks. So he's coming back in, targeting down Wild Soul right here. Will the Bear be able to get a root? In comes the Song of the Sea Shell Surf right there. That's a tongue twister sometimes. And B-Kid's going to grab that haste and get on out of there. So Complexity forcing a buyback right there. But they did lose a few players of their own.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Moravis at the last second there, it looked like maybe he tried to Portal Key, then stun, and then, oh wait, there's Mock on me, I can't. So it looked like he winded up stunning nothing over there. Maybe he was going for the bear, I'm not quite sure, but There was a bear that was low in range. There were some heroes fleeing, but I know that Mach was on him. But yeah, with Stunt there and there too. Well played fight by Complexity. You saw that Shrunken Head doing work that fight, mitigating all of that eruption damage coming out from Magnus.
Yeah, Haxorn was able to activate that just before the Lava Surge came in to hit him. So a very, very well played right there by the Dane. But forcing 2 buybacks out. I mean, were those even forced? It seemed like the team fight was kind of over at that point when Slicks and Moravis both bought back.
Yeah, they were just trying to say, hey, maybe Complexity would get a little bit cocky, overextend here. But as we saw there, the Mach on Boo Boo preventing a lot of the follow-up. So they weren't actually able to quite catch the fleeing heroes of Complexity.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about. When you have that bear on, or the Mach of Brilliance on the bear, is its effectiveness. Your hero can be half a mile away, and the bear's still in there preventing those portal keys from going off, as we're actually watching the bear right now. Doing a little bit of farming here in the bottom lane, even providing this Abyssal Skull aura to the creeps. So going to increase the push just a little bit, and this is what you do. This is how you be annoying with this hero. Even dropping a hatchet right there to grab a creep last hit. Very nice job from Moon. Summons it back to the middle, and it looks like they're going to turn their attention toward this mid tower possibly.
For sure. Funny there, I just saw Boris lay down a Terror Mound right in front of Parasite. I mean, obviously he was going to be killed, but it's like, here, Parasite, why don't you just deal with this for a little bit? And then he walked away. So.
Hey, well, what's going on?
Well, no, I was going to say, note how they're keeping the lanes constantly pushed up. Either Boris is split pushing, the Mach Bear is split pushing, their heroes are in another lane. It's like they're keeping the map constantly pressured onto TTS's side, making it very hard for them to use those aggressive pickups that they have with those portal keys with their hero lineup in general.
Yeah, I mean, TTE's trying their hardest to counter push right here. Moravis is actually using that lava touch, or volcanic touch, there in the middle lane to try to push that one up, but has to fall back here. But look how fast that tower just absolutely got demolished. The bear doing work right there as well as everybody else, and they're going to be working on the base tower here in just a moment. Actually, Complexity choosing to retreat as that Tormented Soul does come out. Moonmeander has to be careful that he doesn't get sniped out by Pharaoh, although he's pretty hard to bring down himself.
For sure. Magnus here, in the meanwhile, he picked up an Ogre Axe. I guess he's going for a Shrunken Head pickup. I guess I can't say I blame him. Shrunken Head is never bad against bubbles, mitigating a lot of the damage from Torture as well, but I feel like their team needs a Hellflower to deal with Torture, because Torture is sort of that, you know, the core of the Complexity lineup once again in those teamfights. We saw how much damage he has put out in that top lane of what otherwise looked like a pretty strong fight for TTES. He's initiating in mid, by the way.
Yeah, in comes Swiftblade, going to be activating that Shrunken Head right afterward. The Shrunken Head's already activated there on Haxorn as well. Kelpfield going to come out, but they're turning it around. I mean, their Magnus wasn't able to do anything. Swiftblade's the only one left in there right now. Luna actually gets the snipe and trying to turn it around a little bit right here as Bubbles is taking cover. He's able to portal key away for the time being. Swiftblade portal keys immediately. The Shell Surf going to be activated. Parasite is there. Parasite is there. The red snipe misses Parasite. Get him. Get him. Dude, stop.
Whoa.
He's got...
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
So,
now, did that red snipe not give vision for the Parasite? I could swear it did.
I don't know. And I mean, he had a portal key there. Portal key had like 2 seconds left on it when he turned the corner. But it seems like White should have been able to...
And he knew the Shell Surf was down, right? Because B-Kid just... Maybe he figured B-Kid was able to portal key away.
Yeah,
and that's why.
I don't even know.
Ooh, that would have been a nice pickoff. I mean, B-Kid is, what, level 30? I mean... Oh, well, I mean, they still won the fight. I mean, I can't be nitpicking too much. They still won the fight there. Very impressive job by TTS. I don't even know how that happened. I mean, there was a beautiful Swiftblade coming out, and yeah, he is pretty over-leveled. Look here, he's level 18.
Yeah.
Compared to level 15 being the next highest level in the game.
What the hell happened there? Like, all this, you always talk about Slicks, like being able to find that farm, being able to get the farm. Doesn't matter how many times he dies and buys back. He's always going to get that farm. And 647 experience per minute right now. Level 19? What the hell? How do you get this farmed on Swiftblade?
Well, his team is providing him the room to farm first off. So, I mean, you do have to give some credit to the team. But he is doing an amazing job around the map. And I guess he got a lot of solo experience for a lot of those kills. Isolating heroes with that Swiftblade ulti. And wow, is that doing work for him. That looks intimidating as hell.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, when he jumped in there and activated those Swift Slashes, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Haxorn just kind of popped his shrunken head and started doing damage back to the follow-up. They were able to pick off the Pharaoh very, very quickly, and they were able to pick off Magnus shortly thereafter. And Swiftblade just kind of looked like he was standing there by himself, but he just killed everyone. Like, they just died. And so
yeah, they completely melted. And wow. Hey, it's doing work. I sort of underestimated the Swiftblade pickup early on, but he's making it happen.
Yeah, and we did see that shrunken head that he in fact did pick up. So going to be working on his own items next year. So what do you think that Swiftblade might go from here? Is he going to be looking for just pure damage?
Got life leech. He just got his Whispering Helm, so sort of answers it for us, I guess.
Okay, so Whispering Helm, the option to turn that into a Symbol of Rage later, of course, and is going to provide a small amount of damage and some armor as well. But do you agree with that Life Leech pickup, or would you prefer something?
Yeah, I think it's just going to help him steroid farm quite a little bit more, help him trade hits with those carries on the Hellborn team as the game progresses, so it's fine. I sort of like that. I do want to see a Hellflower come out from this Legion team, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like anyone wants to grab one. At this point, it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't even hesitate to say, hey, maybe even Swiftblade should get that next instead of another damage item. I mean, sounds crazy, but Hellflower does provide, is a damage item in its own right, does give you damage, does give you attack speed, does synergize pretty decently with Swiftblade. Having that initiation onto the Torture, preventing that shrunken head, getting that increased damage output. If they kill Torture, I feel like the team fight is theirs, so maybe Hellflower wouldn't be a crazy pickup on him.
Yeah, Hellflower could be very nice, and of course with that portal key as well, he might be able to get in there and do that, but looks like something's going to come. Mag comes in right there, a whiffed ultimate from Jeppins though, and there's no real follow-up. Torture's going to activate the shrunken head, goes in and drops all of his damage. Magnus, Pharaoh, both going to die right there. Slicks is still trying to make something happen, but he's not quite able to as he's going to fall to Beacon. Maravis comes back in with a buyback, but there's really nothing else left for him. Aluna going to fall again, and yeah, Leon Black drops right there. Maravis the only player up. Actually, Jeppins buying back as well, but with no Wrath of the Pharaoh, there's no initiation left here.
Wow, that did not... I mean, it looked like TteS were the ones to initiate that fight too, but initiation gone wrong. I mean, Mag blinked in onto the Torture, who reacted very quickly, popping that shrunken head. I feel like they just need better communication.
Oh, a nice Lava Surge in right there and a red snipe. Down goes Haxor, and Raven's going to pay for it with his life, though. Jeppin's trying to get this Wild Soul, but the Void Talisman is activated, the green triangle, and another good snipe coming out right there from Leon Black. And it looks like Parasite's going to be coming in. He might be able to get a kill. The Wrath of the Pharaoh comes out, and they're able to pick off Tremble. Will they be able to get Glacius as well? They need the face-hug. No! Leon Black actually bringing home a hat trick right there on Aluna with 3 great snipes. Even Haxor expressing his disapproval right there as a couple of buybacks were used there. Let's take stock of that. Jeppins bought back. Maravis bought back. And Leon Black bought back right there. So 3 buybacks, but they secured 4 kills and stopped the Rax push.
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth it to use those buybacks. I mean, if they got those racks, that would be an unstoppable momentum of complexity. So yeah, well played there. We talked about that long-range attrition that Pharaoh and Aluna can put out together, and man, they did work. I would not have expected them to defend that push, honestly. It all started with Haxor and dropping from the Magnus Aluna combination, Pharaoh coming in right after, and man, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, Maravis did have to sacrifice himself in order to get that kill, but well worth it when you're talking about that farmed of a Torture who is going to have Shrunken Head up in just a few more seconds, of course. They would have been dropping that tower with level 4 Impalement with that bear, and they were able to get that initiation, bought time for everybody else to get back up or buy back, whatever have you, and doing a nice job. Now, you have to talk a little bit about the buybacks here. There are buybacks being used left, right, and center by the TteS team. Let me do some quick math here. It looks like 5 buybacks have been used, so half of the buybacks available to TteS have been expended now.
Right, and if you look at that gold graph, it actually doesn't truly tell the story of the buybacks being taken into account as well. I mean, it definitely makes, while the gold doesn't seem like such a huge disparity, when you count the buyback gold being spent, it is a lot larger than it seems.
All right. I'm watching Chessie right now dropping more Terror Mounds, just making sure that nobody ever gets to stack anything. That's got to be so annoying on the TteS side of things.
Yeah. At least they have 1 stack going already.
Certainly. All right, so the portal key, of course, has been picked up for quite some time on Parasite. He's sitting at 1,100 gold. He's the only player on his team who hasn't bought back just yet. I'm hoping that he's going to be working on that Hellflower relatively soon. Leon Black, not going to be a player to get that Hellflower, of course. Pharaoh could get one, but he actually just picked up an Abyssal Skull to go with that Soul's Bulwark, so kind of acting as a supporting aura here for Swiftblade almost.
Yeah. I guess it's all right. I mean, I think it's a little peculiar they're not opting to go the barbed armor route. I mean, I feel like it'd still be strong for Torture, or I feel like someone needs a Hellflower on their team. But I guess he's just get in there, do whatever he can, land the hook, and just try to steroid up that Swiftblade for the first, few seconds of the fight while he's still alive. So,
all right,
it's okay.
On the other side of things, we did see that green triangle being purchased by Wild Soul there. He's in fact going to use that to make sure that he does not get too much physical damage taken.
Yeah, I actually sort of like that pickup. He does need to finish up his Bulwark here very soon, but I think he realizes if anything's going to kill him on this team, it's going to be a Swiftblade. And outside of the ulti, he can kite him relatively easily, so yeah, pretty good pickup by him. It's not too often you see a green triangle be picked up by a carry hero, but it should work out.
Yeah, and Torture actually just finishes up his sheep stick right there. So very, very nice to have that.
Going back to the Hellflower, man, that's one more item of all these activatables that Torture has that a sheep stick could be laying into. So, not a sheep stick, a Hellflower could be canceling. So, I still want to see that come out from someone. I mean, I just feel like it can't come out from anyone besides Swiftblade, but you almost hate to have to put that in on your only late game, hope. Who I'm sure he wants to go something like a Savage Mace or some other hard damage item next.
Yeah, that. Do you actually think that a Hellflower could come out on the Swiftblade though? I mean, it's just
no. I mean, I don't see. It's something that I would maybe like to have seen, like if he built for it maybe right away instead of the Whispering Helm and got it sort of in that time window, and they just tried to force fights with it. But I mean. Yeah, I don't think I think with the Life Leech backup and all that, he'll no longer opt to go that route.
Okay. Kongor taking a lot of damage right here, as the Legion is aware of it. They have 3 players in the vicinity now. Slicks is not quite there, so I don't know. They don't appear to have made it there in time, and in fact, Kongor going to be going down here momentarily. The power throw is coming in, and Moonmander actually picks up that kill. The token going to Torture right there. So Haxer and just getting to be more and more of a pain in the ass here for this Legion team. Now sitting there with 1,700 life, shrunken head, sheep, push stick. Going to be very, very irritating in the middle of those fights. And B-Kid on this bubbles now at 4,200 gold. Now he might be purchasing a Hellflower very soon.
Oh, for sure. That's got to be what he... Unless he goes sheep stick, but I would say Hellflower is almost definitely what he's going for here. Parasite still quite a ways off of anything else here. I mean, he has his sort of core items, so to speak. He has his Codex, Ghost Marchers, Portal Key, but I mean, what else could come out from him besides, Hellflower at this point? That's still quite a ways away.
Yeah. Both teams right now just continuing to get their farm on. Swiftblade leads the charge at 517 GPM, over twice the farm of anybody else on his team. That's kind of crazy. You look at the graph for the Hellborn team here, and it's a lot more even. You've got 3 players right there above 300 GPM with less than 100 GPM between them. On the other side, no. Slicks is just a solid almost 300 GPM higher than anybody else. So they've definitely been pulling it all into one player as opposed to spreading it out. And that's one of the things you have to question in games like these. Getting a little bit of farm on some of your supporting cast can go a long way in some of these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, they do all have some semblance of items. I mean, Aluna as a support hero in this game is still sitting on Steam Boots, vestments, and some other core stat items, so not so bad. But yeah, I think it's more of a way of how that early game played out. Like, Parasite was trying to be active and, missed his ganks, didn't farm quite fast enough, and Complexity winding up taking towers, getting that map control before they were really able to do anything here. So yeah, as a result, just...
Slicks just picked up a Savage Mace.
So... Oh, okay. All in. I can't say I disagree with it. If they're going to win here, they need to go hard.
Yeah, and I saw Jeppins pick up a Steam Staff on Pharaoh. I have no clue what that's about. But the Impalement coming out right here as the Glyph of Fortification is activated. Plus he's going to fall back for just another second. Tormented Souls continuing to come out as well as the power throws. They're trying to delay this as best as possible. The portal key actually going off down here as they're pushing in at 2 lanes at once. A very nice job. And the Bear starting to work on the racks. Uphill misses from Haxtron. But actually the Wrath of the Pharaoh comes in. A nice double Lava Surge. Parasite wants to come in and get a kill as well. He's going to face hug onto Wild Soul in the back, but not quite able to get the kill. A good kelp field hitting 2 players. Walled Mummies coming up. And people are dying left, right, and center. Ravis comes back in with a nice eruption right there. Haxtron going to fall, but the Aegis Life brings him back up. And indeed, Haxtron's coming back up, but he's taking so much damage. Parasite is trying to get in there, trying to get the kill, but can he actually get it? No, Haxtron actually just manned up and killed 2 of them. He does fall to a Wrath of the Pharaoh there at the end. Jeppin's the only player up on this Pharaoh against Wild Soul and Bubbles right here. The Hellflower came out in the middle of that, so that was in fact picked up by Bubbles. The second buyback being expended by Pharaoh and Luna to try to save that, but in the end the Rax does fall.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw Swiftblade ulti there. How unfortunate. I mean, there was a low HP Bear and a bunch of like potential squishy targets for an overfarmed Swiftblade here on the Hellborn team, but his ulti wound up bouncing back towards the Bear, towards the creeps, and just really didn't get to do much of anything that fight. And you saw how many heroes survived for a good like 4 or 5 seconds afterwards, with only a fraction of health left on the Hellborn team. Had that ulti bounced differently, I mean, I'd say we'd be looking at a different fight result there.
It's pretty unfortunate. I mean, buybacks were expended. They're down to 2 buybacks, so Parasite, Leon Black on that Luna, and of course Jeppins on the Pharaoh, all bought back right there. And like you said, I mean, that's kind of the thing with Swiftblade, is it's a gamble on that ultimate. It's random, it's chaotic, but if you get perfect Swift Slashes, I mean, that's a 1-team fight, but they're definitely not getting ideal ones, and so Complexity gets the better end of that one as a Demonic is just picked up right there on Boo Boo.
Oh yeah, that's going to be really. And now that they have that 1 Rax down established advantage with that Demonic, I don't know what TteS can do to stop this push.
Yeah, now, will they wait for another Kongor? It looks like they're all kind of just gathering up here in the bottom lanes. The Kongor is going to be down for another, what, 6 minutes or something like that? But it looks like Complexity just says, we're feeling confident, we're just going to go in for it. Actually, Parasite over here could be in a little bit of trouble. Bubbles, if he had known that he was there, could have gotten in and possibly dealt with that Parasite. But no, Complexity just roaming as 5 through the jungle here. And, yeah, do you think they're going to wait for Kongor, or are they just going to go for it?
I mean, they can do either one at this point. We saw last fight, Torture revived with that token with only like 500 life left. On the token revive, still managed about so much damage. Meanwhile, if they do get the jump, they're still going to wind up winning the fight. Beacon does have his Hellflower now, so I mean, they can push. They can push up, I'd say. But I mean, there's no harm for them to wait. If they delay this game out, it's in their favor.
Yeah, certainly. And Torture actually picks up a portal key here, so in combination with that sheep stick, going to be able to provide some initiation for his team. The Hellflower portal key combination, of course, on Bubbles as well, so could be very useful. And with that, I mean, would you say that Complexity, even against something like a Pharaoh, a Magnus, Swiftblade with a portal key, Parasite with a portal key, might they even have the better initiation now with those pickups?
I would say they probably have a stronger initiation just because of the strength of the heroes with the major item pickups they have. I would say that, like, as far as who will get the initiation off, I think TteS, obviously when you have a Pharaoh with such a long-range hook, I would say they have the edge on that one. But, yeah, I mean, the thing is about Complexity is they have that Wild Soul Mock, which you can't discount, which closes off a lot of the follow-up from Complexity. I mean, they have a lot of portal keys, but there's a Mock Bear.
That is very true. Now, Wrath of the Pharaoh, excuse me, Tormented Soul, I keep wanting to call it Wrath of the Pharaoh, and Power Throws right here are trying to delay the push, but the Bear just standing up there in front, and that Mock of Brilliance aura is just doing so much work against these creeps. You can see their health just ticking away right there, and the Bear with that Demonic is just completely fine up there in the front lines, regenning more health, and it's expending, starts whacking away at that tower. Look at those crits with the Demonic on right there, and the tower actually just falls. So the Bear just absolutely demolishes that without putting Complexity in any kind of harm's way.
Yep, and with that tower down, they're content to just fall back here, I suppose. I mean, Beacon heading all the way back to base. I mean, what is he going to...
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, the bear looked like he was about to get initiated on right there, but they couldn't portal key once again because of that mock.
Oh, post-haste picked up by BK. That's why he was walking back to the base. Courier was in use. He decided to pick up his post-haste here. I like it. They have all this map control established right now. If they're just split pushing, controlling resources as much as possible. I mean, post-haste is a great pickup. Not to mention he can post-haste onto that bear, onto that Boris.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. And a team with 2 pets right there certainly compounds the advantage of having those traveling boots right there. So I like that as well. Now, where does Torture go from here? I mean, he's got that portal key, he's got the shrunken head. Is he going to be looking to tank up, or is he looking for another disable item, say a Storm Spirit or a Hellflower of his own?
He can go any route he wants. I wouldn't necessarily go Hellflower at this point. I would probably just tank up against the Swift Blade. Maybe even get an armor item of some sort, like a Shiva's Guard. For instance, Swiftblade does put out a lot of physical damage right here, including that ultimate is actually physical. So maybe, yeah, maybe like, or even you could even consider a green triangle, a Shiva's Guard, something like that for him, I would say.
Okay, now Chapins is trying to get up there. He runs into an illusion bubble, so they know where Pharaoh is, and complexity-wise, they're going to back off right there. They don't.
Magus attempting.
Oh, Moravis actually goes in right there and he misses the lava surge. In comes Swiftblade, but green triangles being activated as Swiftblade Swift Slash is not doing a whole lot. The sheep going to be coming out right there, and Swiftblade absolutely gets demolished. And Complexity looks very strong in this team fight. Beacon even going to be coming in right here, trying to run down Leon Black on the Zaluna, and Leon Black's just saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. The Emerald Lightning comes out right there, the chain reactions, and the Shell Surf to finish him off. And that was a pretty bad initiation right there, missing the Lava Surge on Moravis.
Yeah. I mean, they were down already. I'm sure he's on tilt, just trying to make a last-second play there.
Yeah,
to turn this game around. So
Wrath of the Pharaoh comes in right there, but Hellflower being applied to Swiftblade says, "Nope, you're not getting in here." And Jeppins is going to go down right there. The damage from Haxerin on that Torture is just too overwhelming. And that was the last buyback there for Slicks. Everybody else is going to be coming up here in the next 15 to 20 seconds, but with no Pharaoh, and actually the racks are going to be going down. So Mega Creeps are going to be coming out, and Complexity looks as if they're going to take this first game. GG well played. The vote to concede goes up, passes, and Complexity takes the first game in this best-of-3 semifinals.
Yeah, well played by Complexity there. I actually feel like they got outdrafted in that game. I felt like, looking at how close TteS kept that game, and despite, in my opinion, them misplaying their lineup a fair amount, I feel almost like Magnus and Parasite could have contributed a lot more of that game, not to say anything too much there, but I felt like they sort of underplayed their lineup's potential, and they still really held in there in such impressive team fights. Really just outstanding how much damage that Swiftblade was able to put out, but, you know, I don't know. Just Complexity showed to be the better team in that game. Just complete composure throughout, keeping a very strong early game, and even with having a totally passive lineup, securing the Bloodlust.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. We were like 21 minutes into that game or something before Bloodlust before the second kill happened. The first one happened relatively early. But yeah, it was a very passive game throughout most of the beginning there, and then it turned into just constant team fights. So interesting game, but nice job to Complexity. They're going to go 1-0 in this series so far, but we'll be right back with Game 2 in this one. This has been Complexity Casting. I've been your casting host, Beef, and joining me, Emperor, a.k.a. Bryce of Domain of Pain. Any shout-outs before we go to a very quick break?
Nope. Shout out to everyone tuning into this cast. Hope you enjoy the next game.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We're going to take a very quick break while we get the next game loaded up. Stick right here, and we'll be right back.